get down Magazine Street, because that's where you'll find 6 continuous miles of shopping, mom and pop stores, little dress shops, jewelry stores, art galleries, antiques, restaurants. It goes on and on and on. It leads you all the way back down to like the Arts District where I am, and you can come see me after you're done. So normally in that mix, I would start up at the far end near Whole Food Grocery and start working my way down. So in that area, there's it's Uptown Magazine, and it's where you would have a little group of stores like Hazelnut, which is owned by the actor Brian Batt, who was in Mad Men for quite a while, and it's an accessory store. We have across the street from Hazelnut is Mimi's, which is a very high-end fashion store with haute couture gowns, and her daughter has the shoes, and it's 2 shops in one basically, and very elegant, very refined. All sorts of other little stores, a unique toy shop, underwear, gene therapy, Earth Savers Spa, and then a really cool shop is Scriptura. Scriptura, they have handmade notes and all sorts of things that you would get for your wedding or your dinner invitations or whatever. It's kind of a lost art, letterpress and handwritten letters. Everybody emails now, so it's kind of a fun shop to go into. If you skip on down Magazine Street, kind of in between that and the next little shopping area, you'll find Stafford Tile and Stone. And man, she's got such great tile, marble, wood flooring, countertop items. It's artwork. It really is. And the way that she has it displayed is like a gallery. She'll have a big piece of carved marble on the wall presented like a piece of artwork, and it really is artwork because it's so beautiful. So be careful when you go in there, because you'll want to redecorate your whole house, and that'll kind of put a stop on the shopping. But she's a good girl. She's got a lot of stuff there that you'd like. And then I always start the next section of Magazine Street by having coffee at my favorite place, Boulangerie. It's a French bakery. They serve French truck coffee, which is a local brand here in New Orleans, and everything is fantastic. It's pastry heaven. You can't go in without getting 2 or 3 things that you didn't know you needed. And then right across the street from them is Raw Republic, which they're a cold pressed juice maker. They make bottles of cold pressed juice, and so their green juice is like 6 salads compressed into one little bottle. And everybody in there is so healthy from drinking that stuff all day long. They just glow. So you just kind of feel good when you go in. Even if you don't do anything, you just feel good being there because they're so glowy and healthy and everything. Kind of undoes all the other food that you're going to eat in New Orleans. So that's a must, just to clean, everything out. Billy Solaterio's across the street, does great artwork. Just down from him is Stella, aka Stella Gray, one of my favorite shops in the city. She has artwork, she has feathers. I mean, it gets really eclectic in there. Lots of great jewelry, rings, bracelets, necklaces, home furnishings, accessory items, but totally through Diane, who owns its eye. And what a fantastic eye. She can pick things that you have no idea where they came from, but it's always something you got to have now when you see it. So it's a great place to go. You kind of skip across Napoleon and stay on Magazine. You can hit several shops along the way down to Villa Vici, which is, oh man, how can I say this? Elegant, white, designer goodness. Probably the best description I can give you. Vicki Leftwich owns it. She's a designer. She designed Steve Martin, the other guy. I don't know if he's as famous as I am yet, but he's the other guy in New York, and she did his flat. So she's really sought after, and her look is wonderful. It's very modern, very refined, very simple and good. Her store is fantastic. You could spend a lot of time in there because they're just fun people as well. Then just down from that is the Superfood Smoothie, which is another health food place, but they do shakes and smoothies based on healthy items. So it has a lot more protein and things like that, that, you know, if you're so inclined to be healthy, you can get one of those and kind of stroll on down the street. You'll come to another group of shops, Ann Corner, who is a wonderful lady and has a beautiful shop based on Norwegian kind of antique furniture. Next to her, Carla Katz. I would say, again, a wonderful lady, beautiful shop that has more of an Italian antique Baroque kind of feel. Beautiful stuff. Right next to her is Weinstein's, which is one of the most exclusive women's clothing stores in town. They order one-ofs, so you know their whole store is full of one-of-a-kind pieces and just top designers. Rick Owens, which is a real edgy kind of designer, but the clothing is beautiful. Down from that is Sean Smith, who has another design shop. He's a designer with a shop, so it has items in the shop that he would use in the homes that he decorates. So it's very cool. The Grande Dame of Magazine Street, Jerry Brimmerman, is next door. She's the most famous local designer that's been here the longest, and her look has set the stage for most of the new modern designers that use a white palette in their work. She kind of originated it. So she uses very modern stuff mixed with high-end French antiques. Next to them, Passages Antiques, which is kind of like a French antique shop with old cookingware and armoires and items that you might find in a bazaar in Paris. Next to them is Esom Gallery, owned by Tony Mose, who is a wonderful guy and paints beautiful paintings. He sits in his shop all day long and works, so you can walk in and actually see him painting and watch him sculpt and have a conversation with him, which is awesome. There are plenty of other little shops in that area. There's a shop that's a clothing shop owned by Billy Reed, who's a Southern boy that's done good. He is a hit on the international fashion scene now, and he's come back to New Orleans to open a shop on Magazine and really cool stuff that he makes. Right across the street from him is another little block with all sorts of eclectic shops. Worthmore Antiques is right there, and again, really high-end French antiques based on the Provençal style. So it's like you're strolling through Provence when you go in there. They even have the lavender everywhere. Mignon Faget is right there. Cole Pratt is a gallery that has wonderful New Orleans and Louisiana artists represented. Mignon Faget, of course, is the famous jewelry designer here in town that makes her jewelry based on Louisiana flora and fauna and animals and fish and aquatic, and she's just taken what you would see as a Louisiana person that is commonplace and turned it into high fashion jewelry. So the thorn on a rose bush is now an earring. The bottom plate of a turtle shell is now a belt buckle. I mean, just really interesting lady, very cool concepts in taking those type of items and turning them into jewelry. Marion Cage is another jeweler that has a store of her own designs there. She was an architect by training and turned to jewelry making, and her work is very architectural in nature, so it's really different from what you would see elsewhere. Art and Eyes, which is across the street from Marion Cage, has a wide array of eyewear. They have vintage eyewear, reconditioned eyewear, new eyewear based on old models, modern eyewear. It's really a great shop. If you wear glasses or want to buy sunglasses, you can get the recognized brands or find things that you never knew existed. I think they have a pair of Chuck Yeager's aviator glasses that were refurbished from like his first test flight. So that's how interesting you can get with eyewear, and you didn't even know it. Along with that, they have Star, the owner, makes art clothing. So she has jackets and dresses and things that she's made and sewn together, and it's like wearable art rather than clothing. It's really cool. You kind of can just keep trucking down Magazine and hitting more and more shops like that along the way. When you cross Louisiana, you come to another district which has like Slim Goodies, which is another great breakfast lunch spot, real eclectic food. You have Buffalo Exchange, which is another kind of used clothing store, and Funky Monkey, and Flirty Girl, and different shops that have items that you didn't even know people had shops to house this kind of stuff. But nestled right in there is a modern furniture company called Modern Market, and it's owned by Sherry Hope. Sherry has an ability to source items from around the world and bring them together and put them in her shop, and it's all a very modern furniture aesthetic. It's right behind Design Within Reach, which is a New York brand store that has modern furniture. But Sherry's selection is affordable and stylish, and the people there are just helpful and really cool. So they work in tandem with M2 Architecture, so they can build your house, they can design the interiors, the exteriors, and then furnish it all in one swoop. So it's kind of a cool concept to do that. Sucre is a pastry shop. Again, we've got plenty of places you can eat, so coffee and pastries are always good. They're right across the street from that section. Just eclairs and things that make you sugar levels go right on up. The shops of Antique Mall of Magazine Street's next door, and it's booths of different antique dealers, so you never know what you're going to get when you go in there, but it's all cool old stuff. Pippin Lane, which is a shop that caters to children's toys, clothing. It's owned by John Goodman, the actor's wife, and that's kind of interesting. I don't know if you'll catch her there most days, but she has a good sourcing eye as well for clothing for children. Right down the street from them is Discoveries, which is a big open air market kind of store. The owner goes over to India every year and buys containers full of furniture throughout the Indian countryside and then brings it back here. So it's got a rustic, primitive kind of feel, and very, very cool when you mix those pieces in with other types of modern American furniture. Perch is another store that is an accessory store next door to that. Cool art, cool antiques, cool new items, jewelry, plates, very eclectic accessory store. And then you hit Jackson Avenue, which is another cross street, and that defines another little section of Magazine Street. Right there is one of the best, again, here I go with another restaurant, coffee shop, but District Donut is just awesome. They have these donuts that are dinner plate size, and I'm kind of a plain Jane kind of guy when I go to eat a donut, so I just get the cinnamon sugar one, but it's the best cinnamon sugar one I've ever had. But they have donuts that are made based on themes, like the Elvis, which is literally about that big around, smeared with peanut butter, covered in fried bacon. It's the bananas layered on top of that. It's decadent and tasty and gooey and delicious, and they hand drip the coffee there, and it all just goes down so well. Right next to them, there's a guy that's been a friend of mine for years, Simone, and he makes these signs that are totally New Orleans. They're you know what, you just really have to go in and see them because they're so unique, but you're gonna take one home. I'm not gonna give you any more than that, but that's a must-see stop on the route. Across the street from him is Dunn and Saunier. It's a flower shop, but they have antiques mixed in. And I was actually in there yesterday, and they had little iguanas that had been a mold taken of the iguana, and then they did silver castings of them, so they're about this long. Not everybody has a silver iguana on their table, so if you want one, you can get it there. Another one of my favorite shops in the city is La Belle Nouvelle. And I don't even really know how to go about describing what's in there, but it is, I'm not going to say cool and eclectic again because I've used that so much. It's kind of beyond all of that. It's beyond cool and eclectic. He has vintage lights that are made from pianos. He has, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so cool, I don't even know how to describe it. And that's the lot for me because I never run out of words to say. But he has furniture, he makes things, he has, it's one of my go-to sources for props when I do photo shoots for the magazine, because there's always something in there different, unique, that I know if I put it in one of my shoots, people are going to go, wow, what is that? Who even thought of putting that into a shot? I went in there the other day to do a photo shoot, and he had a model from like the 60s of King Kong. It's the kind you glue together like the model car sets. We even found a little toy guillotine that was working. We found a dice cage from Las Vegas that you turn and the dice roll, and if you're a gambler, that's kind of cool. Goggles from welding shops that were turn of the century French, and they're art forms rather than just utilitarian. So he had a piece in there the other day that was some sort of chemistry jars in a rack, and it was like the best spice rack you could ever imagine. It's repurposed stuff. There you go. It's repurposed items. Across the road from him is Silk Road Antiques, and it's a furniture store that's based on antique Oriental items. One of the items in there that's just making my mouth water right now is I guess it's an opium bed. It's like 2 rooms. It has a seating area and then the bed, but it's all stylized and carved, and I don't know if people do that kind of stuff anymore, but I'm sure there's other uses for it, and it looks really cool. We used a prop from their store one time. It was 16th or 17th century kung fu fighting claws, and we put them on a model, and it was really, really kind of awesome. Just down from that little section is another group of stores like Trashy Diva, and one of my favorite jewelry designers is Go-Go Borderjing. She makes cuffs and buckles and bracelets and things, and it's very modern and very colorful. So that's a must-see place to go. Next to that is Apertique, which is another high-end, if you don't have enough high-end antique stores in town, this is another one, but it is another one of another caliber. It's got really sometimes you run out of words, the stores are so good. There are carving sets and tables that are from the German Black Forest, and there are armoires from Burgundy in France, and it's draped with Irish tartans and deer hoof umbrella holders, and just really cool manly kind of stuff, but there's something for the ladies too. He has a little bit of clothing and things sprinkled throughout the store. Across from him is the Shops of 211 magazine, and again it's an antiques mall where they have different dealers that buy booths in the store and display their wares, but this is not like a junk shop. This is a step above. I mean, everything in there is awesome, and we found a group of antique German beer steins and big mantle clocks in one section. And another section, it was all like knights in armor, kind of swords and axes and shields and armor and things like that. Another section was like Palm Beach, Florida design store with palm leaves and bamboo chairs and things like that. So